Hey guys, welcome to JazzedTutorials. And so this week we're going to be doing a Back to Basics tutorial in Illustrator. I figured most of you guys know I have Illustrator, and I haven't really shown too many tutorials in Illustrator quite yet. I've only done maybe one tutorial so far. So I thought I would go back to the basics in Illustrator and go straight into making a 3D text effect. Basically, it's not going to be anything too extravagant. It's going to be your basic 3D text effect with maybe some gradient colors. So I'm going to make a new canvas, or document rather. I'll just call it text. And it doesn't matter what the color of your document is. I'm just choosing white. So grab your type tool, and you can select any font you like, because basically we're just doing a basic, 3D effect here, so. Let's see, I'm going to pick a really cool font. And for those of you that want to, just for curiosity purposes, if you know the name of the font you're looking for, then you can go up here to the character section and select your font. But if you're not sure what font you want to use, you want to see what color the font looks like, right-click your text, and then you can choose from your list of fonts here, and this one will show you what they'll look like. That way you know which one you want to choose. So, now to really work with gradients and to colorize your text, it's best if you use a flat font like Arial Black, Arial, and all those things. I mean, you can go ahead and use other fonts. It's more time consuming when you go and do the whole edit with the colors and stuff process. That takes longer. But hey, if that's what you want to do, go for it. No problem with that. Let's see. I'm going to try and find one that would work best to show you this tutorial. I think that maybe this one here will showcase the tutorial really well. Let's see. I'm using 72px font. Maybe I'll make it bigger just so you can see it. So let's see how much bigger we can go. See if 150 is big enough. Oh, right, there we go, 150, that's good to me. Okay, now at this point you want to kind of choose your color of your text. Now, I'm going to go ahead with a kind of a grayish color text because that's going to showcase what I'm looking for and make it easy to go and edit. Alright, so then once you have your text the way the size that you like, the font, and where you want it placed, and you can always replace it after you do the 3D effect, but I just like to place it beforehand so I don't have to mess with it. Make sure you grab your selector tool. Now, keep in mind there's two different selector tools. One is a group selector tool. The group selector tool means use direct selection, sorry. The direct selection tool here is when you want to select directly on a specific part of your layer. So like, for instance, in our next section of this tutorial, if you want to select just the J, that's when the direct selection tool will come in pretty handy. But just for this purpose, we need to use the regular selection tool. So select your whole entire text, go up here to Effects, and you're going to select 3D. Oops. And Extrude and Bevel is where you want to select. And at this point, you want to make sure the word preview is checked off so you can see what you're going for. Because if you go freehand, who knows if you're going to like it. And you can't really go, I mean, you can go back and fix it, but it's a lot less of a hassle if you have preview selected. So select your preview. And there's more options if you click here, but usually these options down here don't really apply to much of what we're doing. So I leave those alone. It's basically the extrude depth and the perspective, and these up here are what you want to work with. Down below is just, for other weird stuff. When you get more involved and more advanced in this program, that's when you'll learn how to use these things. But for beginners, just the top part here is what you want to work with, all of this. So none of the more options are beginner related. So let's see, I'm going to change the extrude depth. Whoa, not that much. I just wanted to go up like 2 points. Alright, let's go up a little bit to 60. Alright, I like that. So there we go. Now you can go ahead and move this now. See how you can still move it? You can still move it wherever you want. If you want to edit this in any way, shape, or form, all you have to do is go over here to your rotate tool, and you can now rotate whatever you want to rotate. Of course, you can't really rotate it to the extreme as you could before. So when you are in your extrude and bevel selections, so go back to, so I'm going to go back. Hold on, I'm going to edit, undo, crop marks, undo, rotate, blah, blah, undo, rotate, undo, move, blah, 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 undo, move. Okay. I'm going to go back and redo that because I forgot to actually set the selection. So I want to move this upward like such. Okay, I like that, but I want to be more like that. Alright, I like that. And again, this is just for showcase purposes. And you could make it a bigger extrude or whatever if you wanted to, but I chose not to, but you're welcome to do that as well if you need to. Now, we need to go ahead and zoom in a bit because we're working quite closely with this image, so I'm going to go up here to my window and make sure the navigator is selected so I can go ahead and navigate my way through this. Okay. Now, this is where our direct selection tool is going to come in pretty handy. So grab your direct selection tool, and we're going to now go ahead over here to edit. Or is it object? Object, yep. We're going to make sure the whole text is selected, so go ahead and grab your selector tool first of all. And then go to expand appearance. And what that does is that then creates a bunch of different paths. And now within these path marks, you can use your direct selector tool and select any part of the path you want to select. So I'm going to change the color of the basic of the whole of each of these. So we're going to go ahead and grab our lovely gradient tool over here. And this is our color swatch of random stuff, layer swatch, all that good stuff is over here. When you load your Illustrator version, it may not be all over here, but you'll find it in your windows over here, and just check off what you want to have showing, and boom, they'll show up somewhere over there. Okay, so now we're going to start with the J, and over here I'm going to change my gradient to a different color. Now, obviously, it's got the whole entire thing selected. I was afraid of that happening, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go to Edit and Undo Gradient, and I'm going to unselect everything. So I'm just going to click off of my text. Now you can select only the parts you want. So I'm going to select just the J itself. And I'm only selecting the facing first. We're going to work with the facing first, then we'll work with the back of the extrudes. So I'm going to select this gradient tool. And I'm going to change it up. And I'm going to select different colors for different letters just because I'm that much of a cool kid. So, but, you know, use whatever colors you like. So we're going to go with a red. And when you're doing a gradient, you want to kind of have it go from dark to light or light to dark. Don't like go from like a crazy ass like pink to red or pink to yellow. It just doesn't look right. So I'm choosing to go from a dark red to a very bright red. And to make this effect look really nice, I'm choosing my linear, not going for radial. Alright. Just because I think that would look nicer. But by all means, if you want to use it linear, you can. And always make sure if you're using the radial selector that the lighter color is in the dead center and the darker ones on the outside. It just looks nicer in my opinion. Okay, so you've done that. You've selected now you've done your facing. You want to now do the same exact thing, but on the other sides. So unselect that. So now you're going to select each additional path, And what I'm going to tell you right now is you're going to need to now switch from radial to linear. Just because you're doing the sides, it'll look a lot different if you. It would look really weird if you did radial. Just a thought. I came across this thought about a few weeks backwards when I was doing different things. So by playing around, trial and error, I figured that out. Right, need to go zoom in a lot. Now when you're doing these here with the paths, you will need to zoom in quite a bit because some of the paths are very small. So you will need to zoom in almost all the way to really get to where you need to go. So just select different paths. Use your gradient, and as you can clearly see, because this font is very big and large and different, it's you gotta really get in there. So depending on, every font's gonna be different, and as you'll notice here, these smaller paths are not really matching up to fit this or blend in with that. So in that case, I'll have to go back now, and I'm going to have to reverse all of this. Or I can even just get rid of the whole entire gradient altogether and go perfectly red all around the other side. So we got to kind of try and blend this in as much as possible. It is quite difficult, I will say, because you really got to kind of think it out, but yeah. So hopefully what I'm trying to explain makes kind of sense to you. If not, I'm sorry. But yeah. So it does get very confusing, I will tell you that. But the more of a bolder font you use, the less of these smaller little paths you'll have to deal with, and the more easier it gets. Yeah, so. And then just do the inside, and voila. And now I'm going to zoom out, and you can clear, and I'll let you see what the J looks like. Okay, and that's what our J looks like. Of course, as you notice, these here, a few here, don't really blend in quite well, but that's okay. This is just for showcase purposes, but, you know, every font will be different. As I've said, you'll have different outcomes for different fonts because you'll have different paths for different fonts. The A actually is going to be the easiest one to figure out. So now we're going to go with the A. Now you'll have to again grab your lovely direct selection tool and select the portion you want to work with. I'm going to go with the facing first, then back over here to our gradient, and change my type to radial. And I'm going to use a different color for this one because I just don't want to have it all red. Double click on that. I'm going to go with maybe orange. No, you know what? I'll go with the pink. Oop, I selected green. Well, we're going to go with green then. Green it is. Okay. So I'm going to go with a light green there, and then I'll choose a dark green for there. Alright, I like that. Looks pretty Apple-like. Alright, and then again change this over here to linear when you're doing the sides because that makes it look better than if you did the radial. If you did radial on the whole entire thing, I just feel like it would look ridiculous, but that's just my opinion. I mean, if you want to, go for it. I really don't care. But I just think linear on the sides of it and the backings of it would look nicer. Alright, there's the A. Now let's continue on. So I'm going to again change up my color. I'm going to use a yellow this time. I'm going to go full on summer colors. So I did a yellow there. That looks pretty cool. Direct selecting. Oh, and make sure, shoot. And again, make sure you select radial for your top right there. Sweet. The only issue I'm having though is this is more brighter than that one, kind of oversees the other one. So we're gonna have to select a different color yellow for that one. There we go. That's kind of, there we go. That kind of overshadows that, don't you think? Sort of. Not really. Well, I tried. Oh, close enough. Alright, and then again, direct select, linear, and then when you want to, and then as you notice, when I'm doing the gradients, I'm just clicking on the gradient I've made, and then it automatically goes and does the whole thing for you. Oh, alright, let's move on to the next Z. We're going to choose radial, and we need to also change the color on this one. So let's go with an orange. Oops, that's a dark orange. We want a light orange. Sure. That works, kind of. Alright. Grab my direct selector. Alright, well you kind of get the gist of what we're doing, correct? I mean, it's not that hard to do. I mean, it really is just that simple. All you gotta do is select, edit, blah, 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 blah. Right, and that's how it's supposed to look. Just exactly how you do it with the gradient tool. And now, if you want to add more other other effects that you can't really add in Illustrator, you can then export your file. If you go to export, you can export it as a PSD, and then you can then again open Photoshop, and you can continue editing in Photoshop to add other cool effects to it as well. Whether you want it or not, that's up to you, but I'm leaving it as is, and that's basically how you add nice gradient colors to your text. And again, you could also add one gradient for the whole entire text. You could do that as well, but in my opinion, I think using different gradients for different letters makes it look really awesome and gives you that lovely effect / colorized text. So that's the basics of how to do it. Basically, all you're using is your selection tool and your direct selection tool, and then you're also using the expand appearance. And when you click expand appearance, that basically adds that just gives you a bunch of paths for different parts of your text that you've made from your 3D-ness. So yeah. Alright, that's it for this week, guys. I'll see you on Saturday with a basic, regular tutorial. I hope this was easy enough for you to handle and understand. If you have any further questions on this tutorial or anything Illustrator related, you can feel free to comment below, message me, or whatever, and I'll try and answer your question to the best of my knowledge. Alright, thanks guys. Bye!
Yeah.